Good evening, dear Matrixer. We have today a little quickie for you. Quick. Yes, we actually only wanted to share our weird nightly experience where we saw blatant aliens. Yes, was really already weird, or yes, it was really weird, yes. Shall we get started? Because it started with me and then we continue. Exactly, tell me what you perceived. Okay, so that was, yes, what was it? What kind of day do we have today? I think it was Tuesday night. There I like to go into hypnagogic states and ask questions within there, because then the answer come in via this channel, and Tuesday night I ask questions about amnesia. How can you resolve the amnesia? And the further I went in, the deeper I asked the question. Yes, then suddenly the gray appeared in front of me in Ultra HD, super blatantly sharp, but not the cute little grays. No, these giant grays, maybe 7 or 8 feet high, but they weren't just gray. I thought they were more like that, I call it poop brown. Yes, exactly. At least they showed up there, and this finished the hypnagogic states for me this evening, because they got me in a second. I don't know if you can see that on the video. An implant is placed in the thigh with a needle that pissed off, that went in there, and I like this, you little nice aliens, and I immediately shot the implant out again. That twitched so much that my leg even shut up. Yes, anyway, then the hypnagogic event was over for me. I couldn't find out more about the amnesia. The next night it went on. I didn't do so much this time. I just watched what's happening hypnagogically, and suddenly it was worse. So it scared me for the first time, but the second time, yes, exactly, there were 5 to 6 aliens on the first night. They all stood in a bright room. Behind it was a neon light or something, and there were 5 to 6 of these giant aliens who looked down on us like that. And the next day I still thought it was awesome. There were only 2, and they were to see in Ultra HD. They were sharper than how I can see you here, for example, and they were so close, so I have no idea they were 1 or 2 feet above the head what turned off. I was so scared. I had to crawl under the covers. I was so scared, because if you see them so blatantly in Ultra HD that is sharper than life, then the sleeves come first. Yes, anyway, I told you then. And then we also noticed them. I just saw through the third eye that they scurry around and do things. Now I can see it like that, and in the bedroom I could just see the shadows, that they are there and moving. And you, well, what did you see? So first you said you saw them in HD, yes, and then I got goosebumps on my body and immediately felt the presence of aliens, first of all from someone at all, and then somehow when you said there are aliens, they are here in the bedroom, and I felt that I also raised the back of my neck and thought, yes, that's right, what do they want here? And you didn't look like that they were kind of likable. No, they definitely weren't, but let's talk about it best, what those were for which. And then, of course, I also tried to scan the room with my pineal gland. And yes, it's more like that for me. When I perceive such things, I perceive them almost as much as in the physical. That means I could suddenly see shadows. At first I could see shadows, but quite normally with eyes, so with the physical eyes. They go from left to right, do you remember? Yeah, exactly, I saw how they moved and stuff. And I continued to focus on that, and then I was able to perceive it correctly for a short time, really as if someone were in the bedroom. I suddenly saw an arm or a leg, then I saw the whole silhouette, and yes, then somehow it was like I could really see them for a very short time. And one of them was standing near to the bed to my left, and also had a device in his hand. So yes, what did the device look like? It was more pointed at the top and wider at the bottom, something like this. So like a triangle with rounded corners. And there were 2 or 3 lights on it. They also glowed red. and I really saw the LED indicators, so it looked like LED if I had to compare it now. And then the aliens stood there and did something with the device. And that was very impressive. We went to bed very late at night. Yes, yes. So it was definitely 4 o'clock or so. Yes, I don't know either. They probably thought we were already in deep sleep, but this was not so. In this night we got to bed a little late, and then I somehow saw that the whole air was shimmering. Yes, exactly, definitely, flared great. And then I always moved my hand back and forth through the shimmer, also through the alien who was standing next to me, and suddenly I saw that out of my hands come silver sparks. I saw it really optically. Yeah, shit, I only saw them a little bit, but you saw them really well with me. So I did that too, and then, yes, you did that too, and I saw that with you too. Yes, exactly. And you all I had to do was move my hand back and forth. It made me feel like Harry Potter at the moment. Yes, we are all wizards. The silver sparks that came out of it, and yes, it was a really impressive experience when the aliens visited us there. So the next day on the couch, I also lay there, and then I looked in the other direction. And there around the corner I had briefly, at 5 to 6 feet high, briefly respected so and back again. That also set my neck hair up, so we're really surrounded by aliens. Yes, anyway, that was when we were there, have seen, that is when I saw them clearly in their rooms. So they didn't look nice, so no clear. Okay, they only do their job too. But yes, they do put implants, do experiments, delete memories, so clearly... So they are not the ones who want to support us here to leave the Matrix, but we're going to make another video about that. It's going to get down to business people. There we tell you things your hair will stand on end. Yes, but about that in the next video. Okay, yes, yes. But this time we really have to do it. We always promise the next time. Yes, yes. So really this time. Yes, really this time. Yes, we just wanted to tell you that briefly, a small intermediate briefing, and yes, really crazy. Did you want to tell a little about your cool new post, which somehow also fits into the category? Because we have somehow researched that so many cool UFOs have now crashed, and now you've written a really cool posting on your blog about it. Yeah, on my blog matrixblogger.com, surely many of you already know that. I have now published an article, and it's about UFO sightings near Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And there have thousands of witnesses who really saw UFOs in the sky. Many filmed it, photographed it, everywhere on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit and similar social media portals. These videos and photos were published there. In the meantime, however, many has been censored again. Now maybe just 5% are still online, if at all. They just deleted them all, did some research there and the like, and there you can also see a few pictures in my article. And there are also different sightings. One also claimed, or some also claimed, that the UFO had crashed. And that can also be researched. So there's really a UFO supported in a lake near Meiji, and while the UFO crashed into the lake, a smaller object, so said, detached itself from the UFO and fell into the forest. There's also a video about it. There you see a cloud of smoke over such a piece of forest, and of course there are also some videos to be found. Some UFO researchers in Brazil also have, because there are many UFO sightings in Brazil, so these are any messages every day too, the military arrived with helicopters and then somehow sealed off the area. Reporters and civilians were no longer allowed to enter the area, everything full of helicopters, full of military. And the other day, one of the UFO researchers called the militaries, called the fire department, called the police, and they all said closed, no calls were received here. We have not observed anything. No, there was nothing on the radar. There was nothing. But I think it was not true according to how many witnesses reported the sighting and how many personal or private movie recordings of these objects existed. So you absolutely have to read through and then maybe do some research for yourself. Pretty awesome, cool story. Yes, as long as you can still research, exactly, yes. Check out this article, very exciting, because I also discovered something there. There you can see for yourself what you think of it, because the last part is an additional part and it doesn't seem to belong to the incident, so you don't really know whether this is really related to all the sightings. And in any case, the additional videos also appeared, and then this still argues with the community whether it is real or not. You can judge for yourself, but the fact is the UFO sighting in the sky and the crash into a lake has actually taken place, and it's true. And yes, it's late and it's time to eat. Take care, guys, doing well. Ciao, ciao.